Okay, it is the end of the 10:45 a.m. turn. We are just on 11 a.m. and this is the situation. I'm going to take you back to the left of the Union positions first to kind of fill you in on what's been happening. There's been a lot happening kind of all over the place, but nothing really major. Out on the far left here, of course, Ninth Corps started to move off about an hour ago. The First Division, not the First Division, the Third Division, which was the first division to move off, received their orders, confirmed their orders, and began shifting. They've been ordered to cross Snavely's Ford in the south. Shortly thereafter, 1st Division activated, and they've been ordered to cross the lower bridge. The other two divisions, under Sturgis and Scammon here, have not yet accepted those orders. So at this stage, the Union artillery of the Ninth Corps has finally started to open up, and they've eliminated a small Confederate battery, but that's about it for this stage. Confederates yet to respond, although seeing this movement, Lee has issued some orders to D.R. Jones to move some of his brigades to confront that crossing of the lower bridge. In the centre here, really the centre of the Union position here, behind the east of the Antietam, McClellan has really failed with a lot of his command roles and has struggled to issue orders. It's just basically caused a lot of delays. He has finally issued orders to Sumner's 2nd Corps, but there are special rules guiding this Corps' acceptance of orders. And when they get their first attack order, they basically get a sort of a disruption effect. And what happens is the Confederates can give that Corps, or rather the 1st Division of the Corps, to accept those orders, any orders they want. So the Confederates have basically rewritten this to cross the upper bridge and attack the west end of the sunken road out here. So they're going to drive straight through the centre here, right into, well, where the Confederates want. This is where Anderson's division has just moved and set up, so there's a lot of Confederate forces in that area. They're walking right into, a very bloody angle. We'll have Confederate forces on their left and right flanks. The other divisions have to follow, but they don't have to follow too closely. They have to kind of adhere to orders that make sense. It's a bit complex, but basically we've got French's 3rd Division of the 2nd Corps marching straight through the valley. And they can stop following those orders, those absurd orders, once they suffer, I think, their first destroyed regiment. McClellan has issued orders to Mansfield. This came about an hour ago, when the situation on the Union right position, when these guys had actually suffered a fluke stoppage. So he issued them orders. They kind of retreated back. McClellan issued them orders to shift to the right of the Union position. Then they made an attack recovery and are back in the attack in the south. When these orders eventually come through, it'll mean they'll then have to stop that attack and shift back to the right. This is just the effect of the order system, basically, and the delays and how the situation changes between McClellan issuing these orders and it getting through to Mansfield and him passing these on to these divisions. So the Union is kind of hoping they can do as much damage in this area south of the cornfield as possible before those orders are changed, and Mansfield gets very frustrated, and in particular Williams and Green, who are in the thick of it up here. So Hood's, this is now looking around the cornfield. Hood's division captured the cornfield, but just in the last 15, 30 minutes have suffered some really heavy casualties and are heavily reduced. Just some really bad rolls. They've had some retreat results. You can see some. I thought there was some behind the lines. Yes, I think this is part of Hood's forces back here. Yep, some really bad disorganisation. McLaws has been attacking on the right of this area, but not with great effect, to be frank. A lot of relatively low regiments, low strength regiments, You may notice Confederate artillery has been posted up on the hills, back on Nicodemus Hill, and back on, is it Houses Hill up there, I think it's called. What else? Look, Anderson's division has moved into the southern cornfield, south of West Woods, and they're just holding a position there. D.H. Hill tried to roll for initiative, but failed several times. And then with Union forces coming back into the attack, he's decided to hold his position in the Sunken Road. So it kind of worked out well for D.H. Hill that he did follow those. Otherwise, he'd be out of that Sunken Road. Incidentally, that's kind of what happened historically. They did come out of the Sunken Road and attack to the north, and were forced back. So yeah, look, but if you look at the sort of centre area here, Green's 2nd Division of the 12th Corps has really swung around. They've had a lot of success in this area. And have pushed Confederates off those heights. This is the Dunkerchurch here, and they're very close. They've trying to charge, but failing their roll to closes. A lot of C-ranked morale units in this area. Yeah. So look, McLaws is down to 7 regiments maybe. Hood is down to maybe 3 or 4 regiments. The Confederate attack is kind of petering out. The 1st Corps attack is done. They can't do anything else. But now the 12th Corps attack is in full swing, but they're heading straight into some solid Confederate positions down Sunken Road in West Woods and the southern cornfield. So that's the situation. There's a lot of Confederate cavalry around, and to be frank, I just don't know what to do with it. So you've got all these guys out here, Hampton Brigade down south. I've been tempted to sort of bring this cavalry around to threaten the Union rear. I'll think more about that. It's only 11 a.m. There are many, many hours to go. Incidentally, artillery on both sides has been relatively quiet. Not a lot has happened over the past hour. A lot of Confederate artillery ran out of ammo in the first 2-3 hours. The last hour, it's been much quieter. More difficult to find lines of sight in this environment with this fighting. A lot of Union forces sort of behind tree lines, behind this ridge along here. It's just been difficult to get those lines of fire. Much more dense canister in this area as they're approaching these guns. There's been more sort of close range artillery fire, but it's been more difficult to get longer ranges just because of where the fighting has shifted to. All right, so as I said, that's the end of the 10:45 a.m. turn, just on 11 a.m. with much, much more to come at the Battle of Antietam.